You are listening to Small Business Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives small business owners the straight talk on productivity, time management, business systems, leading your teams, strategic decision-making, and mindset. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the productivity specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Small Business Straight Talk podcast. Today is episode 408. What does your business need? If you're a small business owner who wants to learn effective business strategies, improve time management, and elevate productivity to maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. Happy New Year, and welcome to the first episode of 2026. If you haven't already noticed, I barely have my voice back. I have been sick throughout the holiday season, but I did want to make sure that we got this episode out to you to start the new year. Because I want to be sure to support you. Because if you're anything like most business owners I know, you're probably stepping into this year with a lot of mixed feelings, both excitement and overwhelm. Big goals, fresh energy, but maybe also some decisions that you've been putting off or problems that have followed you from last year. If that's you, today's episode is a perfect way to start the year. I'm sharing one of my simple questions that cuts through the overwhelm and helps you see clearly even when you're too close to the situation. So be sure to stick around. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to take my next level business owner quiz. By taking this short 3-minute quiz, you will find out what's most holding you back from taking your business to the next level. And then you're going to get a personalized playlist sent to your inbox with specific episodes that address those specific challenges for your business in this season. In those episodes, you will find strategies and actionables that you can implement immediately to break through. So head on over to amberdelagarza.com/quiz. Again, that's amberdelagarza.com/quiz. And now let's get to the straight talk. If you have ever felt stuck on a decision, like something needs to change, but you just can't seem to move through the decision, then today's episode is for you. I want to share something with you that is at the heart of what good coaching actually looks like. Because here's the thing, coaching isn't about someone giving you all the answers. A lot of coaching is about asking the right questions at the right time. Questions that invite you to think about the same situation differently. Today, I'm going to give you one of those questions. It's a simple reframe I use with my coaching clients all the time. And it cuts through the noise, bypasses the overthinking, and helps you see clearly when you're too close to a situation. And the best part? It works almost in every area of your business. When you're stuck on a decision, it's often not because you don't know what to do. It's because you're too close to the situation to see it clearly. This shows up everywhere in your business. Maybe it's deciding to make an investment in your business, like making a new hire, hiring a business coach, upgrading your technology, or renting an office space. Or it's finally sending that proposal that you've been sitting on. Perhaps it's raising your prices, setting boundaries, making the ask to be on a certain stage or in a room that you want to be in. It could also show up in having hard conversations with employees or even letting them go altogether. And I want to be clear, these are just a few examples. This pattern of being too close to see clearly, it shows up everywhere. Let me give you one example that comes up quite frequently with my coaching clients, and that is with their employees. You hire someone, You work alongside them. You build a relationship. In fact, you're probably with them more than you're with your loved ones. And somewhere along the way, that professional relationship becomes personal. And when it becomes personal, it becomes really hard to see what's obvious. The business needs them to fulfill their role. The business needs them to show up on time. The business needs them to do quality work and to be trustworthy. But you're thinking about their family situation, or how long they've been with you, or how awkward the conversation is going to be. You're looking at the situation through your own personal filters, which is, please just hear me, completely normal. There is nothing wrong with you. In fact, if you were cold-hearted and didn't care at all, I would say that there was something wrong. You are completely normal. But those filters are keeping you stuck. And what are those personal filters? Let me name a few so that you can see if any of them sound familiar. Fear of the hard conversations, fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of the awkwardness, fear of what people will think. Guilt, especially with employees. Guilt about their family situation, guilt about how long they've been with you, guilt about letting them down. Capacity limits. You look at a problem and you only see the solution through the lens of what you can personally do. You're thinking things like, I don't have time for this. I can't take on one more thing. How about the filter of emotional attachment? The personal relationship has become personal, and now you can't see the situation objectively. Self-doubt. Who am I to raise my prices? Who am I to ask to speak on that stage? Who am I to send that proposal to this dream client? And lastly, avoidance. You don't want to deal with the discomfort, so you stay stuck instead. You convince yourself that maybe the problem will just resolve itself. Or you may say something like, well, maybe it's just not that bad. You start rationalizing and downplaying the problem or the challenge because that's easier to avoid than to hit it head on. Do any of those sound familiar? I am guessing that at least one or two hit home. These filters are normal. They're human, but they keep you from seeing clearly. So here's the reframe I use with my coaching clients all the time. And it's one simple question. What does your business need? I'm going to repeat it again. I want you to ask the question, what does your business need? Not what should I do, not what do I feel like doing, but what does the business need? When you step back and zoom out, when you separate yourself from the situation just enough to see it clearly, the answer often becomes obvious. And here's what I've found. Most of the time, you already know the answer. You just needed permission to see it. So that's it. That's the question. But let's dive a little deeper and talk about why this question is so powerful and why it works. Because understanding this will help you use it more effectively. It works because it creates separation between you and the business. And many of us, our businesses are an extension of us. Perhaps it's a personal brand. You've built it from the ground up. It is your skill set that's being sold. You're an interior designer, you're an attorney, whatever your special gift is that you're giving to the world, it's your business. And it often gets blurry and there's no separation. So when the question is, what should I do? You start negotiating with yourself. You talk yourself out of the answer before you even say it out loud. You weigh in your own comforts, your fears, your guilt, and you stay stuck. But when you ask, what does my business need? It feels much differently. It's almost like you're answering a question about someone else's business. In fact, that's not even a joke. I know that if your girlfriend or buddy that has a business came to you with the same situation you're in, you would be thinking, I can just so clearly see what needs to happen. And the difference is that you are not emotionally tied. You're not in it. You're not feeling all the feels. You are not looking at the situation through your own filters. And that is why it seems easier for you to give advice to others than it is to find that advice for yourself and take it, is that difference of the filters and being so close to it. And so this question is going to help you zoom out so that you can separate yourself. That shift, it stops the back and forth in your head. The shift will actually make the solution so much clearer. But that's not it. Here's what else happens when you ask this question. It activates your problem solver brain. You're a business owner. You're good at solving problems. That's how you've built this thing thus far. This is how you've gotten to where you're at today. So when you frame it as, what does the business need? You shift into strategic problem-solving mode instead of emotional decision-maker mode. You're analyzing the business, not defending yourself. It changes your language, and language is incredibly powerful. Instead of saying, I need you here on time to the employee, you can say something like, the business needs you to be here on time. The company needs you to be here on time. Or perhaps instead of, I've decided to let you go, because that's what it really feels like when you're making those decisions, it becomes something more like, because of the direction of the business, or because of where the business is going, we need to make some changes. That could be changes in you're letting them go. It could be changes to the job description, changes to standards, but you're putting this entity, the business is requiring something, and it's true, it absolutely is, and it's enough distance from the I statements. That language shift creates emotional distance, and it makes hard conversations easier. It clarifies the right answer. When you're stuck in your personal filters, as everybody has a tendency to be in, every option feels equally weighted. But when you ask, what does the business need? There's often a clearer answer because you're measuring against business outcomes, not personal comfort. You're no longer the bad guy making a tough call. You are the steward of your business, doing what the business requires. And that separation is everything. Now, we're not going to end here. I have one more thing I want to share with you about the power of this question. And it's something that I've noticed that makes this reframe even more powerful. Many business owners are hesitant to advocate for themselves, but they will absolutely fight for their business. Think about it. When it comes to doing something for you, like raising your prices, setting boundaries, hiring support, asking for help, there may be a bit of hesitation. There's a voice that says things like, who am I to ask for that? Or that feels selfish. Or you may be thinking, I don't really deserve that. Perhaps this is fueled by lack of confidence, feeling like you don't deserve it, worrying that you're being selfish. These things keep you stuck when the decision is about you. But when it's about the business, something shifts. You'll go to bat for your business. You'll make the hard call. You'll have the uncomfortable conversations. You'll invest in the business when it needs to grow. Because that doesn't feel selfish, that feels responsible. I often think of it as like mama bear comes out. right? Like I'm a mom and I think about how I move through the world. And there may be times where I'm like, it's okay. But if I feel like my kid needs advocating for or protection or to be stood up for, I am like a mama bear coming out strong and not thinking twice. Never will I think I shouldn't ask those questions. I shouldn't do this thing. I shouldn't make this request. Those filters are like not even existent when I think about advocating for my kid. And that is the same thing that happens for our businesses, is that when you can think about this and flip that switch of like you are mama bear or papa bear and you are advocating for the business, that feels responsible. This reframe uses that tendency strategically. The decision might be exactly the same. Hire the help, raise the prices, set the boundary. But when you frame it as what the business needs instead of what do you need, suddenly you have permission to move forward without hesitation. So let me ask you this. What decision have you been avoiding because it feels like you're asking for too much? Because if you framed it as, what does the business need? You'd do it tomorrow. I want you to sit with that for a second, because there may be more than one situation or one decision that needs to be made on behalf of the business and not yourself. And here's the thing I want you to understand. Advocating for your business is advocating for yourself. They're not separate. You built this thing. Your business is thriving and you thriving are connected. But if the door is labeled, quote unquote, for me, feels like locked right now, the door labeled for the business might be wide open. So let's bring this all together. The next time you're stuck, spinning on a decision, overwhelmed by a situation, too close to clearly see, I want you to pause and ask yourself one question. What does my business need? Not what do I feel like doing, not what's easiest, not what avoids the hard conversation. What does the business need? That question creates separation. It bypasses personal filters. It activates your problem-solving brain, and it gives you permission to do what you already know needs to be done. Because here's the truth. You probably already know the answer. You just needed a different door to walk through. Clarity doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from thinking differently. And sometimes one question is all it takes. I have loved